Hello there everybody! Today I will be teaching you how to make use of RNG Manipulation to get a ton of rare candies very quickly via the pickup ability in Pokemon Black, White, Black 2 and White 2. I'll be using my English copy of Pokemon Black 2 for this guide, but the process is exactly the same across all languages. Now there is already a method in Pokemon Black 2 and White 2 specifically that lets you farm infinite rare candies via rebattling the breeders in Abyssal City's big stadium and small court. That method requires you to have at least one, or preferably two breeders in either the stadium or the court. If you don't have a breeder in either of them, you can just soft reset until you get one, but you have to soft reset before entering either of the two buildings on a day, as the trainers inside for both are generated once you enter the first one of the two on a day. So start your game, go inside one of the buildings if there's no breeder in there, go check the other, and if there's no breeder in there either, you can soft reset and rinse and repeat until you get at least one breeder in either of them. That method, however, will only get you one rare candy about every 1.5 minutes, so 6 rare candies every 9 minutes, and as long as you have a reasonably common timer 0 to aim for, the pickup RNG method will still be a lot faster. Of course, you can apply this method to any item available via pickup like leftovers or PP ups, but getting a ton of rare candies is the most practical use case for it in my opinion. Before we get started, I'll go over what you need to have in-game and what you should know about to be able to properly follow this guide. You need to have calibrated your game and console combination for Gen 5 RNG and should have at least a bit of prior Gen 5 RNG experience. Like maybe you RNG'd a stationary or wild Pokemon before, but if you haven't done any of that yet, I'll link some useful guides from my friend I'm a Blissey that'll help you get started with Gen 5 RNG. In-game you'll need multiple Pokemon with the pickup ability. I recommend to take at least 5, but preferably 6 of them for maximum efficiency and highest rare candy yield. In Black and White 1 only, you may need to go with 5 pickup Pokemon maximum, as you cannot get honey in large quantities easily, like in Black and White 2's Join Avenue markets, and therefore need a Pokemon with the move Sweet Scent to summon a wild encounter later. There is one Pokemon that can do both though, as it has both the pickup ability and can learn Sweet Scent, but it's Teddy Ursa, which can't be found in Black and White 1 without trading or transferring, so it may not be an option for you. Unfortunately, Unova only has one single Pokemon native to it with the pickup ability in Lillipup. Now you may think, isn't that good? I mean, Stoutland is not bad, right? And I agree with you. But for some reason, Game Freak thought pickup shouldn't be used much late game in Unova, so they made it so once Lillipup evolves into Herdier, it loses the pickup ability in exchange for Sandrush. That certainly helps Stoutland in competitive, but we don't care about competitive right now, we just want to use pickup. There is ways to get other Pokemon with the pickup ability within all of the Generation 5 Pokemon games, but they are usually more convoluted, like having to do an in-game trade and then breed, or getting lucky in a hidden grotto and then also breeding, or something similar. None of those are great options, so if you can, I recommend you either make do with the fairly weak Lillipup and spam B every time they try to evolve during leveling, or just transfer up a Zigzagoon or something from Generation 4 to breed so you can get a full squad of Linoon going later. Before you actually get your pickup squad fully ready though, you'll need to know what level to bring each of your Pokemon up to, as depending on the level of the pickup Pokemon, the items you will get vary in type of item, rarity of item, and which slot the item occupies. This is where Rambo's Fork of RNG Reporter comes into play. Rambo's Fork is simply a newer, updated version of RNG Reporter that includes several bug fixes and feature additions for Generation 5 RNG, including a specialized pickup RNG searcher. You can find a link to it in the description below. Now in Rambo's Fork you go to the Time Finder and then switch over to the Pickup tab. Once there you'll be presented with the standard year, month and min-max advances selection. Here you can generally choose whatever you'd like, but to later make this as fast as possible, I recommend you go with min and max advances of 0. It will also be a bit impractical to reliably advance frames later without space for a chatot in your party, so being able to load into the game and immediately using Sweet Scent or Honey without having to do any advances just makes sense here. Below the year, months and advances is what's really important though, the input for the actual pickup Pokemon in your party. Now if you want to have a full squad of 6 pickup mons, you check off every single checkbox from party 1 to party 6. If you only have 5 pickup Pokemon however, you'll need to check off all boxes but one of them, depending on what slot in your party is the Pokemon without the pickup ability. Right of the slot selection, you can choose the level of your pickup Pokemon, and then right after that, the items you would want. For the level, if you do not have your pickup Pokemon ready yet, you always want to put the level to 21 to 30 for now, as that is the lowest level range Rare Candies can be picked up at. Technically, you can of course choose whatever level you want, that's why the option is there after all, but the example I'll explain it with will have it set to 21 to 30, and will be the fastest way to find a seed if you do not have a pickup squad finished and available already. If you do have the full pickup squad ready already, on the other hand, just put this level range to the actual level ranges of each of your pickup Pokemon. Now, with all level ranges set to 21 to 30, we choose the items we want. You may now think we only want Rare Candies, so we only check off that box. However, it will most likely take a very long time to find a seed with 0 advances and 6 Rare Candies to pick up, so instead we're gonna be a bit more flexible. This is the pickup table for the Generation 5 Pokemon games. As you can see, you can pick up Rare Candies between levels 21 to 100. Here's where the flexibility comes into play. If we now, next to the Rare Candy, also pick a Revive, Ultra Ball, and maybe even Hyper Potion as potential pickup items, we will find a target seed much faster than if we were just looking for Rare Candies, and we can still get Rare Candies from these other item slots. The way that works is that if we now level up a Pokemon that, on levels 21 to 30, would have gotten us a Revive, to a level between 31 and 40, the item slots change so that instead of the shown Revive, we get a Rare Candy. So if our target seed shows us that we will get an Ultra Ball, we can just level the pickup Pokemon to level 41 and will instead get the Rare Candy we want. Same principle for the Hyper Potion of course, but level 51 is at least required. If you want to, you can of course also select the Full Heal, Escape Rope, Repel and Great Ball for even more possible target seeds, but that'll just mean hours of miserable grinding, so I don't recommend you do that. The Hyper Potion is already a bit of a stretch, and I personally would take seeds with more than 2 shown Hyper Potions because I don't want to grind as much. Once you selected your party slots, level ranges and items, you can start searching for a seed until you find one you like. I also recommend going for a seed with relatively low target seconds, as we plan to repeat this RNG many times, so every saved second per attempt counts. On DS, DS Lite and DSi, I recommend to try and find a seed with a target second between 16 and 30, and on 3DS models, I recommend to go with something between 31 and 40 target seconds. After a bit of searching, I found a seed that I liked with 19 target seconds. The seed has 2 Rare Candies, 2 Revives, 1 Ultra Ball and 1 Hyper Potion shown, meaning I'll need 2 pickup mons on level 21 to 30, 2 pickup mons on level 31 to 40, 1 on level 41 to 50, and 1 on level 51 to 60. To not waste any time, I'll of course only level them up to their minimum required level each. So for the Hyper Potion, I only need level 51 to get a Rare Candy instead. Once you've done that, you can start with the RNG Manipulation. Generally, there's only one single location in both Black and White 1 and Black and White 2 that we would want to use for pickup RNG, that being the roof of Celestial Tower. This is the only location in the game that doesn't have any randomly moving NPCs, whilst also having no wild Pokemon that can hold an item. This is important because if a wild Pokemon holds an item, that will advance frames and skip at least one of our pickup items, potentially more. Be aware though that Sweet Scent and Honey do not work on the raised platform the bell is on, but only on the lower ground of the roof. The target encounter for our example RNG will be a female level 30 Elgyem, as our target frame has encounter slot 1, which means level 30 Elgyem, and a female gender for 50-50 gender ratio Pokemon. If we get anything else, we will immediately know we are not on the correct seed and can just reset to try again. Alright, as per usual, we set our date and time, and set the timer at the same time as we confirm our time. Then if you need to press any buttons, you're get ready to hold them. I need to hold B, X and Y. B, X and Y being pressed and held. Of course we do not want to activate the C gear, as that would advance frames, and our target is 0 frame advancements away, so if we skip past that, we would lose at least 1 Rare Candy. Also, as you can see, none of my pickup Pokemon have any rare candies on them right now, so I didn't put any on there beforehand. Don't worry. And then once in game you just immediately Sweet Scent or use Honey, depending on what you have at your disposal. And should hopefully get your target encounter. And I get it! How nice! Now again, if this would not have been a female level 30 LGM in my case, for your case it will most likely be different, so you should have a look at your target seed's main window to see which the first frame is. Of course, if you're on Black and White 2, you need to check off the Black and White 2 checkbox on the right. If you have Memory Link, you need to check that off. If you have the Shiny Charm, you need to check that off. Then calculate initial PID RNG frame, then generate, and then you'll see what your first frame is. Now, as I said, encounter slot 1, female, that's all we can see here. Whether it's quirky or not and what ability it has, we don't know, and we don't care. We'll just knock it out now. And then hopefully we should have 6 rare candies on our 6 pickup Pokemon. Let's see. All of them have items, very nice. Rare candy, rare candy, rare candy, rare candy, rare candy, rare candy. How nice! Now, of course you could also do that with frame advances, but first of all let me show you something here. If you have your time finder still set up from searching your seed, or if you did that last time, you can just go to time finder, go to the pickup section and then input what party Pokemon you have and at what level they are. If you input all that correctly and then choose the pickup Gen 5 method in the method tab of the main window and then hit generate, you will be shown what pickup items you get depending on the frame you stop on. Like in this case, of course, we had the first frame, we get rare candy, rare candy, rare candy, rare candy, rare candy, rare candy, as we got in game. If we had skipped that even just one frame, we would have gotten nothing on our first Pokemon, and then 5 more rare candies. And if we had skipped another frame ahead, it would have looked very different already. Now, we don't really want this open here right now, because, of course, we want the PID RNG method again to see what encounter we should get as our target encounter. Because that's just helpful. Then we know immediately, once we start the battle, whether or not we hit our target seed, and can reset if we did not do so. Now, going back to the frame advances thing, if you pick a target that's 1 or more frames away, what you then need to do is stand in place like I'm doing here, and move, let's say in this case, since I'm up against the wall and cannot move top or left, you need to move like so, and constantly switch which direction you're looking into. Each of these direction switch ups, let's say, is exactly 1 frame advance. As soon as you accidentally take a step, turning around starts advancing a bit more random of an amount of frames. It can sometimes advance 1, it can advance 2, 3, 1, 3, 3, 1, 2, 2, 2, and so on and so forth, until you get an encounter, but that doesn't matter right now. So you want to, if your target is at least 1 advance away, you want to just stand in a corner, like so, and just move up and down, up and down, up and left, sorry. Up and left, up and left. You can of course do that in any corner you want, you don't have to choose this specific corner up here, but this is closest to the entrance, so that's what I picked. Like, let's assume I just loaded into my game, and my target advance was 62 here. My initial advance is 59, so I turn once to get to 60, another time to get to 61, and another time to get to 62, and then I use Sweet Scent or Honey. And just like that, we got 6 rare candies within about 2 minutes. Let's assume that on average you only hit your target seed every 3rd RNG attempt, so that instead of 2 minutes per 6 rare candies, it would take around 5 minutes instead. That is still almost twice as fast as the Black and White 2 exclusive Big Stadium and Small Court breeder farming method, which takes about 9 minutes for 6 rare candies. If you are training your Pokemon and they have reached like a level between 70 to 80, this is the by far most efficient method of getting your Pokemon to level 100. Very easy and pretty fast. And with that we are done. I hope you all learned something new and are now able to get a ton of rare candies within minutes of your time. If you have any questions, my friend Abyssal has a great Discord server for assistance with RNG manipulation, in which I'm also fairly active in, at least at the time of making this video. I'll put a link to it into the description below. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and consider subscribing. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.